Ezekiel, or Ezekiel, chapters 24 through 27. And in the 9th year, in the 10th new moon, on the 10th of the new moon, the word of Yehovah came to me, saying, Son of man, write down the name of the day, for on this same day the sovereign of Babel has thrown himself against Jerusalem. And speak a parable to the rebellious house, and you shall say to them, Thus said the Master Yehovah, put on a pot, put it on, and also pour water into it. Gather pieces of meat in it, every good piece, the thigh and the shoulder, fill it with choice bones. Take the choice of the flock, also pile bones under it, cook it thoroughly, also let the bones cook in it. Therefore thus said the Master Yehovah, Woe to the city of blood, to the pot in which there is rust, and whose rust has not gone out of it. Bring it out piece by piece, on which no lot has fallen. For her blood is in her midst. She has set it on a shining rock. She did not pour it on the ground to cover it with dust. To stir up wrath, to surely take vengeance, I have set her blood on a shining rock, so that it would not be covered. Therefore thus said the Master Yehovah, Woe to the city of blood. Let me also make the pile great. Heap on the wood, kindle the fire, cook the meat well, mixing in the spices, and let the bones be burned up, and set it on the coals, empty, so that it gets hot, and its bronze glows, and its filthiness shall be melted in it, and its rust be consumed. She has wearied herself with sorrows, and her great rust has not gone from her. Into the fire with her rust, and your filthiness is wickedness. Because I have cleansed you, but you are not clean, you shall not be cleansed of your filthiness any more, till I have caused my wrath to rest upon you. I, Yehovah, have spoken, it shall come, and I shall do it. I do not hold back, nor do I pardon, nor do I relent. According to your ways and according to your deeds, they shall judge you, declares the Master Yehovah. And the word of Yehovah came to me, saying, Son of man, see, I am taking away from you the desire of your eyes with one stroke. But do not mourn, nor weep, nor let your tears run down. Groan silently. Make no mourning for the dead. Bind your turban on your head and put sandals on your feet. Do not cover your upper lip, and do not eat man's bread of sorrow. And I spoke to the people in the morning, and in the evening my wife died. And the next morning I did as I was commanded. And the people said to me, Would you not explain to us what these matters you are doing mean to us? And I said to them, The word of Yehovah came to me, saying, Speak to the house of Israel. Thus said the Master Yehovah, See, I am profaning my set-apart place, the pride of your strength, the desire of your eyes, and the delight of your being. And your sons and daughters whom you left behind shall fall by the sword. And you shall do as I have done. Do not cover your upper lip, nor eat man's bread of sorrow, and let your turbans remain on your heads, and your sandals on your feet. Do not mourn, nor weep, but you shall pine away in your crookedness, and groan with one another. And Ezekiel shall be a sign to you. Do according to all that he has done. When this comes, you shall know that I am the Master Yehovah. And you, son of man, on the day when I take from them their stronghold, the joy of their adorning, the desire of their eyes, and the lifting up of their being, their sons and their daughters, on that day one that has escaped shall come to you to let you hear it with your ears. On that day your mouth shall be opened to him who has escaped, and you shall speak, and no longer be silent. And you shall be a sign to them, and they shall know that I am Yehovah. Chapter 25. And the word of Yehovah came to me, saying, Son of man, Set your face against the Ammonites and prophesy against them. And you shall say to the Ammonites, Hear the word of the Master Yehovah. Thus said the Master Yehovah. Because you said, Aha, against my set-apart place when it was profaned, and against the land of Israel when it was ruined, and against the house of Yehuda when they went into exile. Therefore, see, I'm giving you as a possession to the men of the east, and they shall set their encampments among you and make their dwellings among you. They shall eat your fruit, and they shall drink your milk, and I shall make Rabbah a pasture for camels, and Ammon a resting place for flocks. And you shall know that I am Yehovah. For this is what the Master Yehovah said. Because you clapped your hands and you stomped your feet and rejoiced with all the scorn of your being against the land of Israel, therefore see, I myself shall stretch out my hand against you and give you as plunder to the nations, and I shall cut you off from the peoples and make you perish from the lands. I shall destroy you, and you shall know that I am Yehovah. Because this is what the Master Yehovah said. Because Moab and Seir say, See, the house of Yehuda is like all the nations. Therefore, see, I'm opening the flank of Moab on the side of the cities, on the side of his cities, on its frontiers, the splendor of the land, Beth, Shemoth, Baal Meon, and Kiriathaim. And I shall give it, together with the Ammonites, as a possession to the men of the east, so that the Ammonites are no more remembered among the nations. Also on Moab I execute judgments, and they shall know that I am Yehovah. Thus said the Master Yehovah, because of what Edom has done against the house of Yehuda by taking extreme vengeance, and they became very guilty, and they have taken vengeance on them. Therefore, thus said Master Yehovah, I shall stretch out my hand against Edom. I shall cut off man and beast from it and lay it waste. From Taman even to Dedan they shall fall by the sword, and I shall lay my vengeance on Edom by the hand of my people Israel. And they shall do in Edom according to my displeasure and according to my wrath. So they shall know my vengeance, declares the Master Yehovah. Thus said the Master Yehovah, because the Philistines have acted in vengeance and took extreme vengeance with scorn in their being, to destroy with lasting enmity. Therefore, thus said Master Yehovah, see, I'm stretching out my hand against the Philistines, and I shall cut off the Kerethites, and destroy the remnant of the seacoast, and execute great vengeance on them with raging reproofs. And they shall know that I am Yehovah when I lay my vengeance upon them. Chapter 26. And it came to be in the 11th year, on the first of the new moon, the word of Yehovah came to me, saying, Son of man, because Tsor has spoken against Jerusalem, aha, she is the gateway of the peoples, has been broken, she's been turned over to me. Let me be filled. She has been ruined. Therefore, thus said the Master Yehovah, see, I am against you, O Tsor, and shall cause many nations to come up against you, as the sea causes its waves to come up. And they shall destroy the walls of Tsor, and they shall break down her towers, and I shall scrape her dust from her, and shall make her like a shining rock. She shall be a place for spreading nets in the midst of the sea, for I have spoken, declares the Master Yehovah. And she shall become plunder for the nations, while her daughter villages, which are in the fields, are killed by the sword. And they shall know that I am Yehovah. For thus said the Master Yehovah, see, I am bringing Tsor from the north, Nebuchadrezzar, sovereign of Babel, the sovereign of sovereigns, with horses and with chariots and with horsemen, even an assembly and many people. With the sword He shall kill daughters in the field, and he shall heap up a siege mound against you, and shall build a wall against you, and shall raise a large shield against you, and set the blow of his battering rams against your walls, and break down your towers with his weapons. From his many horses their dust shall cover you. From the noise of the horsemen and vehicles and chariots, your walls shall shake as he enters your gates, as men enter a city that is breached. With the hooves of his horses he tramples all your streets. He kills your people by the sword, and the columns of your strength shall fall to the ground. And they shall plunder your riches, and they shall loot your merchandise, and they shall break down your walls, and destroy your pleasant houses, and shall put your stones and your timber and your dust in the midst of the water. And I shall cause the sound of your songs to cease, and let the sound of your lyres be heard no more. And I shall make you like a shining rock, and let you be a place for spreading nets, never to be rebuilt, for I, Yehovah, have spoken, declares the Master Yehovah. Thus said the Master Yehovah to Tsor, would the coastlands not shake at the sound of your fall, when the wounded cry, when the killing occurs in your midst? And the princes of the sea shall come down from their thrones, and they shall lay aside their robes, and take off their embroidered garments, and put on trembling, and sit on the ground, and they shall tremble continuously, and they shall be astonished at you. And they shall take up a lamentation for you, and say to you, how you have perished, O one inhabited by seafaring men, the city well praised, who was strong at sea, she and her inhabitants, who put their fear on all her inhabitants. Now the coastlands tremble on the day of your fall, and the coastlands by the sea shall shudder at your going out. For thus said the Master Yehovah, when I make you a ruined city, like cities no longer inhabited, when I bring the deep upon you and great waters cover you, then I shall bring you down with those who go down into the pit, to the people of old, and I shall make you dwell in the lowest part of the earth, in wastes of old, with those who go to the pit, so that you do not return. But I shall establish splendor in the land of the living. I make you a horror, and let you be no more, and you are sought for but never found again, declares the Master Yehovah. Chapter 27. The word of Yehovah came again to me, saying, now, son of man, take up a lamentation for Tsor, and you shall say to Tsor, you who dwell at the entrance to the sea, merchant of the peoples on many coastlands, thus said the Master Yehovah, O Tsor, you yourself have said, I am perfect in loveliness. Your borders are in the heart of the seas. Your builders have perfected your loveliness. They have made all your timbers of fir, trees from Sinir. They took a cedar from Lebanon to make a mast for you. From the oaks of Bashan, they made your oars. They made your deck with ivory from the coasts of Kittim. Of fine embroidered linen from Mitzrayim was your sail to serve you as banner. Of blue and purple from the coasts of Elisha was your covering. The inhabitants of Zidon and Arvad were your seamen. Your wise men, O Tsor, were in you. They were your sailors. The elders of Gebal and its wise men were in you, repairing your seams. All the ships of the sea and their seamen were in you to trade your merchandise. Those from Persia, Lud, and Put were in your army as men of battle. Shield and helmet they hung up within you. They gave splendor to you. The sons of Arvad and your army were on your walls all around, and the Gammadites were in your towers. They hung their shields on your walls all around. They perfected your loveliness. Tarshish was your merchant because of your great wealth. They gave you silver, iron, tin, and lead for your merchandise. Yavan, Tubal, and Meshech were your traders. They exchanged slaves and objects of bronze for your merchandise. Those from the house of Torgamah exchanged horses and horsemen and mules for your merchandise. The men of Dedan traded with you. Many isles were your market. They brought you ivory tusks and ebony as payment. Aram was your merchant because of the multitude of your works. They gave you emeralds, purple, and embroidery, and fine linen, and corals, and rubies for your wares. Yehudah and the land of Israel were your traders. For your merchandise they exchanged wheat of Minnith, and early figs, and honey, and oil, and balm. Damasek was your merchant because of the multitude of your works, because of your great wealth of goods, with the wine of Helbon, and with white wool. Dedan and Yavan from Uzal paid for your wares. They exchanged wrought iron, cassia, and cane for your merchandise. Dedan traded with you in saddlecloths for riding. Arabia and all the princes of Kedar were merchants for you. In lambs and rams and goats they were your merchants. The traders of Sheba and Ramah were your traders. They paid for your wares with the choicest spices and all kinds of precious stones and gold. Haran and Kenna and Eden, traders of Sheba, Ashur and Kelmad, traded with you. They traded with you in perfect items, in purple cloths, in embroidered garments, in chests of multicolored clothes, in strong twined cords, among your merchandise. The ships of Tarshish were the travelers of your merchandise, and you were filled and richly laden in the heart of the seas. Your seamen brought you into many waters, but the east wind broke you in the heart of the seas. Your wealth and your wares, your merchandise, your mariners and your sailors, your repairers of seams, and your dealers in merchandise, and all your fighting men who are in you, and the entire company which is in your midst, shall go down into the heart of the seas on the day of your fall. The coasts shaking at the sound of the cry of your sailors, and all the oarsmen, the mariners, all the sailors of the sea shall come down from their ships. They shall stand on the shore, and they shall raise their voice and cry bitterly over you, and cast dust on their heads, rolling themselves in ashes. And they shall shave themselves bald because of you, and shall gird themselves with sackcloth. And they shall weep for you with bitterness of heart and bitter wailing. And in their wailing for you, they shall take up a lamentation, and they shall lament for you. Who is cut off in the midst of the sea like Tsor? When your wares went out by sea, you have filled many peoples with your great wealth and your merchandise. You have made the sovereigns of the earth rich. In the time you were broken by the seas and the depths of the waters, your merchandise and all your company shall fall into your midst. All the inhabitants of the isles shall be astonished at you, and their sovereigns shall be greatly afraid. Their faces shall be troubled. The merchants among the peoples shall whistle at you. You shall become a horror and be no more forever.